What's up, guys? I do know it's very rare that I do a spoiler review. I've done a few on my channel, but I don't do many of them. But I had some spare time on my hands today, and the Halloween film, the new Halloween film, I feel there was things in the movie that happened that I really wanted to talk about, but I couldn't say in my non-spoiler video. There's some things that happen in the movie that I had issues with that I had to be very broad about in my non-spoiler review, so I decided, you know what, enough people are going to see this movie. I thought I would just give my more in-depth thoughts on the things that not necessarily I liked about the film, but things that didn't work for me in the movie, because everything I liked in the film, I really touched on that in my non-spoiler review, and you could check that out. That's up on this channel now. But there are a few things that I didn't like about the movie. Obviously, this is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the film, go see it, come back, check this video out, or if you don't care about spoilers, have at it. Let's get started talking about this thing. But, like I said in my non-spoiler review, overall, I think this is a good movie. I think that it's disappointing overall compared to the original, but as a film on its own, I would still give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think it is a fine film, but just some of the things that I didn't like about it, or that took me out of it a bit. The main thing was the humor. For me, getting into that more in depth with the humor in this movie, there's the scene in the middle of the film where one of the Laurie's granddaughter's friends are babysitting during this Halloween dance, and she has to babysit this kid that she has been babysitting for quite some time. I'd imagine that's how it came across. And once we get to that scene, it instantly turns into a comedy. The whole film leading up to that point, I feel like, had bits of humor, like when the father said that he spilled peanut butter on his penis or whatever was going on there. Didn't really like that joke because I don't know. I just feel like it was just a really weird thing to say, and I don't think what he said was actually true. I don't know. It was just a little upsetting. But the babysitting scene when they were talking, she says, come over, we'll get the Alakazam, and the little kid starts being like, I know you're going to come over and smoke some pot. Now, keep in mind, I did like the scene, but I just feel like it didn't fit for this movie. I feel like a bit of humor would have been good. But then she came back at him, and she was like, oh, well, we got Alakazam. I could, get your mother for your search history. And he was like, oh, you better not. I'm clipping my nasty-ass toenails and all this stuff. It was going back and forth with humor. And I feel like the movie, that's where the tension sort of kind of lost it for me. The movie would add tension, and then it would just go away, for me personally, with scenes like this. And when Michael is actually in that house, and he is revealed, and he kills the girl. I don't remember what her name was, Vicky maybe. But when the little boy sees that, and he runs down and says, oh, I'm going to go get help, and he runs out and he sees the girl's boyfriend coming in, and he says something along the lines of, don't go in there, you're going to get killed. And the way he says it, it's very funny. And in the original film, you don't get any scenes like that when they're trying to be serious. It was a funny line, and I just feel like it didn't work for the scene, because I want to be feeling that tension. I want to be feeling that presence of Michael Myers, and you do. Definitely in scenes you do. When the scene where one of the kids from the Halloween dance he's like in this yard, and the lights are going on and off and on and off, and Michael appears in different places, and he's standing in the background in one of the shots. It was very similar to Lights Out, the movie that came out a few years ago, 2016 maybe. It was a very interesting scene because the light would go out and then he would appear somewhere else when the light turned on, and all of a sudden when the light comes on, he does the stab. But that whole bit of the film including the Halloween dance, I feel like was unnecessary. When I said in my non-spoiler review that the granddaughter's side plot was unnecessary, it did nothing for the plot. Absolutely nothing. The character could have been not doing any of those things. She could have just stuck with her mother or done whatever else that just didn't add on nonsense, or just, it was just unnecessary characters. Like her boyfriend, apparently he kisses someone at this Halloween party, and now it was a scene that just took place in a movie I saw like last weekend in Goosebumps 2. It was like the same exact scene, but only we get the boyfriend coming out and he throws her phone in the pudding. I don't really know what that was all about. Like, you would think that he would try to be like, oh, I'm sorry, but the phone starts ringing. He says, you know what, your precious phone going in the pudding. You're going to get that? It was unnecessary. That whole character, unnecessary. We don't get to see what happens to him. We think, oh, well, now he's going to get killed. We never see him again. So, in that aspect, the script isn't strong. In the first film, you have a very small group of characters that are in this very small area. The houses are very close to each other, and terror ensues. There's bits of like light humor mixed in that movie, I felt, but in this, there was too much humor for me. Like the scene towards the end when the cops are talking in the car, we're supposed to be feeling this really serious, tense moment that's about to take place, but then we get more comedy. It just takes you out of it. Me personally, anyway. You'll laugh at it, like it's funny in the moment. And the thing that bothered me in this movie, probably the most, was the doctor. Personally, I don't think there should have been another doctor in this movie. That's just my opinion. What was established in the original, Loomis says that Michael Myers is complete evil, and he can't be helped. And now, once he's in containment, that's great, but he still has a doctor. And I don't understand why. This guy is studying him, I guess. I understand that. But you didn't need it in this film, I felt anyway. Because that scene, which really is like it's my least favorite scene of the film. It's the scene where they have the granddaughter in the back of the cop car. The cop and the doctor are in the front and passenger seat. They're driving. They find Michael Myers, who's walking along the sidewalk, which I don't know why I didn't like that. I mean, I get it. He has to walk around, but he was just like walking on the sidewalk. Like, I get it. He was doing it when all the Halloweeners were out, but in this scene, there's like no one else around him. I felt like he should have been like walking through the yards or like on scene. You know what I mean? Like he's never really out in the open. You know, like I didn't really like that. You know what I mean? It was just very strange for me. And they run him over, and then the cop gets out and the doctor gets out, and the cop wants to shoot him, but the doctor says, "Don't shoot my patient." And then the doctor kills the cop. The cop was fine, but I feel like he did not need that extra bit of story to where they said he was apparently in the original. He was there that night. We never saw that character in the original. It was just tacked on for this movie. Unnecessary, didn't need to be in the film. That was another thing I didn't like. But when the doctor kills the cop, takes Michael's mask off, and puts it on, even though he was just doing it so he could feel the evil, because he's studying Michael Myers. I get it, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the choice. I understand what he was trying to do, but I thought it was the stupidest thing. Why? What in the world is going on here? And then immediately after he puts Michael in the car, he takes the mask off and he puts it on the seat next to him. And then he gets in the car and he starts driving, and he says something along the lines of, you know, Michael's stayed alive all this time so he could kill Laurie Strode, or something along those lines. So he says, you know, we have to get them together. We have to take Michael to Laurie Strode. I wasn't even sure that Michael Myers, that this doctor knew where Laurie Strode lived. How does he know where she lives? They meet once, and he says, she says, you're the new Loomis. I didn't think he knew her address, but he took he took the cop car there. He drove them practically to the house. And they stopped the car. Michael kills the cop. He stomps on his head, whatever. And then he's practically there. He's practically at Laurie's house. I thought it was so lazy how they got... Like I said this in my non-spoiler review. I thought it was so lazy how Michael Myers actually gets to Laurie Strode by this stupid doctor that out of nowhere says Michael has to fight Laurie Strode because that's why he's still alive. I thought it was the stupidest thing. I thought it was such horrible storytelling. And I think until that point in the movie, I was at like 4 out of 5 stars for this. But just that scene alone and the stupidity of it took it down for me to a 3.5. But the movie has great tension. Like that last scene I really liked. The last sequence in the house. Really enjoyed it. But what in the world happened at the end of the movie? I don't think he's dead. I mean, I don't think anybody in the audience says, oh, okay, they killed Michael Myers. Because you see him standing in the basement when it's on fire, but you don't see his body on fire. You just see fire surrounding him. And then when they cut back from the shot inside the basement, you don't see a body. You don't see him standing there. He's nowhere in sight. I highly doubt he's laying on the ground in flames. We would have seen it. So I feel like they said, you know what? We want to do another sequel. And the end of the film, in my non-spoiler review, I did say the last shot of the film left a very strange taste in my mouth. It's the shot when the camera pans, the girls, all 3 of them are sitting in the back of the truck. Camera pans down to the granddaughter still holding the knife, and she's clutching it in her hand. The camera pans to that, and then freezes. The camera freezes, and we have the same shot we're looking at for at least a second or two, maybe 2 seconds. Then it cuts to black, the movie ends. I don't understand why they put that shot in the movie. I get it. Some people say, well, you know, in the original Laurie, she threw her knife. This time, the granddaughter, she's holding on to that knife. Or the granddaughter just can't let go of it because now she's traumatized. I get it, but I feel like it was, if that is the case, they are extremely pounding that into your head. Like, oh, look at, now she's traumatized too, like it wasn't natural. I feel like if the camera just kind of panned out and we nonchalantly saw her still holding the knife and then it cut to black, I would have liked it. That would have been fine. But when they literally just go, oh, look at it, look at the knife, cut to black, end. If that was what they were trying to do, that now she's traumatized, I feel like it was extreme, like way too much. Like, I get it, you know. It left a very bad taste in my mouth. Because some people that I talked to after the movie, including the friend I saw it with, including me, was like, well, what are they trying to do here? Are they showing that she's now going to take over for Michael Myers? Like, what's going on here? I'm sure people did think that. Because that was a thought that was going through my head because of how on the nose it was. That last shot. But, you know, also in the film, the journalists, mentioned them in my non-spoiler review, really loved the journalists. Loved what they were doing in the movie, and they were killed off too soon. The scene was brutal, and the scene was great, but I feel like I would have preferred them over the stupid-ass doctor and what he does. The doctor's only in the movie for one purpose, technically, and that's to drive Michael to Laurie. That's it. Because the doctor doesn't do anything else in the movie. It's a very stupid character. But yes, I would have loved to have more of those journalists. Liked the characters. The acting was great from those journalists. I loved it. But then they get killed off. And, I mean, the scene was great. I just wanted to see more of them. But are they going to do a sequel to this movie? That's the question. It is going to make a boatload of money. It very well might beat the October opening weekend record that Venom just set with 80 million. This could make 85 million. This could make 90 million. I don't think it's going to touch 100, but it's going to come close. It's definitely going to come close to 80. It's going to come close to around there. But if they do a sequel, I just feel like they're going to just rehash a lot of the stuff that happened in the original sequels. And that's the reason why they retconned the whole thing in the first place. Like, right after the movie ended, I'm walking out of there, I'm talking to my friend, and I said, you know what? They did not have the balls to show that Michael Myers has been killed. They didn't have the balls to do it. The filmmakers, the directors, they couldn't have it. They couldn't do it. And that's a decision that I also didn't really like. But overall, I think the movie is good. Like I said, I think it's a fun movie to watch. It's an entertaining movie to watch. The score, the acting, the tracking shots. When we first see Michael in the town, and everyone's Halloweening, and it's that tracking shot. He's going through house to house, he's killing people. Great shot, and great moments of tension that are in the film, but they're chopped all over the place. It's like tension, like I said, humor, you're going to get taken out of it. Tension, humor, taken out of it. Tension, Halloween dance that you don't care about, that doesn't go anywhere. Tension, movie ends. And that's really all I have to say about the movie. I don't think there's anything else that really I wanted to mention about this. But I did like the film 3.5. I've seen it twice now. I'll probably end up seeing it again because I do have a few more friends that want to see it, and I would definitely see it again. It's a fun movie. I'm most likely going to pick it up when it comes out on 4K Blu-ray, so I'm excited about that. But guys, did you see the film? I hope to God you saw it because I just spoiled quite a bit of it. So comment your thoughts, your spoiler thoughts. What did you think about this movie? What do you think is going to happen next with this series? My non-spoiler review for the film is up on the channel now. Also, my spoiler review for the original film is up on this channel now. You can check those out. Guys, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The links to those are in the description of this video. You can also follow me on Instagram at KingOfRises131. Guys, that's been it. Thank you very much for watching my spoiler review for Halloween. Over and out.